Donald Trump has officially caved once again, this time to Iran, where U.S. officials are currently negotiating a possible nuclear deal between the United States and the Iranian regime. Now, several years ago, during the first Trump administration, Donald Trump personally ripped up the JCPOA, the nuclear deal that was entered into between the Obama administration and the Iranian regime. Now, just 8 years later, the Trump administration has offered Iran a deal that is very comparable to the one that Donald Trump himself ripped up. And here's the kicker: despite telling the public that Iran will never be able to have nuclear uranium enrichment capabilities and that any deal would require Iran to completely dismantle its nuclear facilities, the Trump administration has now offered a deal that would allow Iran to enrich uranium at low levels and stop short of requiring the full dismantlement of its nuclear facilities. It's almost like the taco reference on Wall Street could now be applied to foreign policy. Before I continue, if you want to support my work, click the button below, become a paid subscriber to my Substack, or send a one-time donation to my Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. Your support is invaluable, and I could only do it with your help, so thank you so much. In addition, the Trump administration is pissed off this afternoon. Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, held a high-level meeting with ICE officials across the country and demanded answers as to why ICE officials have not deported more undocumented immigrants. He demanded that ICE officials ramp up operations at 7-Elevens, at Home Depots, and no longer just focus on targeting the hardened criminals, but rather anyone and everyone. And now, according to the Washington Examiner, the White House wants a much higher quota per day for number of individuals detained and arrested. Morgan Akin, an 84-year-old United States Marine veteran, has taken a public stand against Donald Trump, saying that Donald Trump is, quote, tearing the country apart. In a symbolic protest, Akin has removed the American flag he had flown for decades and begun demonstrating in his hometown, disturbed by what he has seen in recent weeks and months from the second Trump administration. In Massachusetts, a Worcester man was deported to Brazil after ICE officials allegedly forged his signature on a deportation authorization, according to his attorney. Arrested earlier in May after honking at an undercover ICE agent in a vehicle, his deportation has left his partner and their 4-month-old son, who is an American citizen, preparing to leave the United States to reunite with him in Brazil. Harvard University has told a federal judge this afternoon that it possesses internal documents from the Trump administration that directly shows that the White House ordered the sudden freeze of over $2 billion in federal research funds, bypassing legal procedures. Several prominent U.S. law firms are experiencing significant client loss after entering into agreements with the Trump administration. These deals often involve significant pro bono commitments, hundreds of millions of dollars in pro bono deals that these law firms take on. Major corporations, including Microsoft, McDonald's, Oracle, and Morgan Stanley, have since reduced or severed ties with law firms like Paul Weiss, Kirkland & Ellis, and Latham & Watkins, citing concerns over the firm's independence and ethical judgment. The United States Supreme Court today declined to hear two major gun-related cases. The first was a law that banned the high-capacity magazines in Rhode Island, and the second bans assault-style weapons, including AR-15s and AK-47s in Maryland. Three conservative justices, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Samuel Alito, and Justice Neil Gorsuch, would have agreed to take on the case. Since the start of 2025, at least 20 Planned Parenthood clinics across 7 states have closed or announced plans to shut down, as the organization struggles with mounting political pressure and financial strain in the post-Roe v. Wade landscape. The closures impact regional affiliates in Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, New York, Utah, and Vermont. A large protest has erupted in the Boston suburb after ICE agents detained an 18-year-old high school student on his way to volleyball practice, allegedly in pursuit of the student's father. The Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security are once again at odds over the controversial deportation of Jordine Melgar Salmeron, which occurred in direct violation of a federal court order. The DOJ attributed the deportation to, quote, a series of unintentional administrative errors. DHS rejected the explanation, saying that there was no, quote, error. Antonio Delgado, the lieutenant governor of New York, is mounting a primary challenge of Governor Kathy Hochul. A federal judge in Seattle has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's attempt to eliminate collective bargaining rights for approximately 50,000 Transportation Security Administration (TSA) officers. The Trump administration has asked the United States Supreme Court to overturn a lower court that blocked mass layoffs and major restructuring across federal agencies. And today, there was a second round of ceasefire talks between Ukraine and Russia in Istanbul, Turkey. It ended without a truce, but it did end with an agreement to swap a number of prisoners of war. That's all the news right now, folks. If you want to support my work, click the button below, become a paid subscriber to my Substack, or send a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas, and I'll see you in the morning.